V1. Rotate.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Flight Sim 008 video, and our mini-series Aegean Island Hopping. Today, we start where we left off, Thessaloniki. This city, nestled in a large bay about an hour's flight time north of Athens, is Greece's second largest city, and the capital of Greek Macedonia. Dating back to the Roman times, the city is renowned for its festivals, events, and vibrant culture. The airport serves as a holiday destination for many European countries. Though the two short runways can't support intercontinental flights, there are plans for expansion, including a new terminal building. Today, we're continuing our tour towards Corfu, on the other side of the mainland, in the Ionian Sea. It sits in the northwest edge of Greece, just south of the border to Albania, and is another very popular tourist destination. So while the bags get loaded and the passengers board, let's jump into the flight deck and get started. Alright, back in the flight deck of our trusty steed, the Aegean A320. So we have a little bit of a different situation here in that we have ground power already connected. Everything else is pretty much off and not cold and dark, but you know, in an unready situation. So what we'll do is we'll arm the emergency lights and we'll arm the cruise oxygen supply. Next thing we'll do is we'll come up and align our ADIRSs. We wait for the on bat, number 2, and number 3. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to load the fuel and the payload. So the payload was 55.90 fuel weight, so a little bit less than our last trip. And the fuel was 4,300 kilograms. There we go. So that's loaded in now. We'll go ahead and init our flight plan. So we're going LGTS Thessaloniki to Corfu LGKR for Kirkira. And it might, yes, okay, so it's already preloaded in a flight plan that I had used previously. It's the Thessaloniki 3 Bravo off of runway 16, I want to say. then upper mic 600 to YNN, and then YNN to VMAT. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to take that. We will put in our flight number, which is AEE355. Cost index is 28, and our cruise flight level is 260 this time. A little bit of a shorter flight. And we'll go ahead and put our block fuel in. Did I put 4.2 or 4.6? I have the memory of a goldfish. Fuel was 4.3. Wasn't even close. Alright, so that goes in there, and the rest can be done by the aircraft itself. There we go. So all of that will initialize, and the fuel prediction will initialize, and all that good stuff. Flight plan. So we want LGTS, and then we want Thessaloniki TSL, like so. And then from here we want Airways. Airways, we want the upper mic 600, like so, to YNN, Yankee November, like so. So that will go in, but the rest, which is the arrival and the departure, we'll have to do manually once we get... we do have ATC online in the form of Athens control. Let me just close this window here. And Athens control is on 129.8. 129.8. Athens control, hello. Aegean 355 Airbus 320 at Thessaloniki, IFR to Corfu.
Good evening, Aegean 355. We are clear to Corfu. The departure from runway 16, Thessaloniki 3 Bravo. Aegean Tango Lima 3 Bravo. Initially flight level 80, squawk 7275.
Alright, Aegean 355 is cleared to Corfu off of runway 16, Thessaloniki 3 Bravo. Initially flight level 80 and 7275.
Aegean 355, your report is correct. Startup approved on QNH 1017. Call me for taxi.
Startup approved 1017. We'll call you for taxi, Aegean 355. So 7275 was the squawk. Nope. Clear. 7275 was the squawk. We can turn this to on. We can turn that over to that. System 1, alt repeating above. We'll leave TARA off. That'll be our master. Turn on the squawky bit. Okay, so Thessaloniki 3 Bravo. So LGTS, departure, runway 16, and then scroll all the way down. Oh, no, not too many. Scroll down to Thessaloniki 3 Bravo. Insert. Now, here's the thing. The Thessaloniki 3 Bravo is basically straight out to Thessaloniki VOR. Hang on, let me pull up my charts on the other side here. I had this up just a second ago. Okay, so the Thessaloniki 3 Bravo off runway 16 is to Thessaloniki, then the 164 radial outbound, then at 10 DME, we're going to turn right back to Thessaloniki, and then assigned route by ATC. So basically it's Thessaloniki 10, which is in there correctly, then back to Thessaloniki, that's correct, and then Elpis, I believe. Yeah, so then en route. Okay, so here's the thing though. If we zoom in a little bit, what basically should be happening is, okay, I'll zoom back out. So Thessaloniki, then Thessaloniki 10 DME, which is there, and then come back to Thessaloniki, and then en route. So it's kind of like a teardrop maneuver back to the VOR. Now Thessaloniki is on. Whoops, I closed that. Is on nav radio. We've got that tuned in, so TSL is good. So we'll turn on VOR 1 because we want that, because we want our DME. And is there anything else that can help me? Osmo, Snow, Kira. We can do. You know what? We can do MKR. on the field like that. We'll just make sure that this one doesn't switch, so TSL, TSL on this side. There we go. The course outbound is 164. 164. So that's in there. And I think that should be it. So we might have to hand fly this. We'll see how if we get airborne and the autopilot's not complying, we'll have to manually intervene it. We'll probably end up hand flying it because, let's face it, I love flying this bus. Okay, so that's done. The perf. All right, so we'll be doing a flaps 2 departure. Let me just have a quick look at payload here. 25.8. That comes to about 0.9 up trim. So we'll do flaps 2 and up 0.9 like so. The flex is 68, and the other thing I want to do is 1510 for the thrust reduction and 3010 for the acceleration height. With that, we can go ahead and plug these in, 133, 133, and 134. Perfect. So that's done. So what we'll do is we will put in 8 on the MCP. That'll be our reminder for that. We already have the QNH set once, twice, thrice. The next thing I want to do is have a look at the arrival in Kirkira, because a lot of different interesting procedures into Kirkira, or Corfu, if you will. So we're in the plan mode now. By the way, what I'm going to do, because we're supposed to come back to TSL, what if I do overfly on the second one? Will that? Yeah, there we go. Awesome. Okay, cool. So that's actually exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Now, as for if it's a right or a left-hand turn over to Elpis, that I'm not sure. So we'll have to see how it plays out dynamically with ATC, but at least now we have a perfect drawing of our departure path. Okay, so what did I want to do? What I want to do is I want to scroll down. Is this not... oh, am I on the wrong... No, I'm on the right one. Okay. Oh, okay. It just wasn't far down enough. Okay, so the final waypoint in our flight plan is Yankee November, November. And there's Kirkira. Sorry, Corfu. Yes, I had it. Okay, cool. Now, what I want to do is I just checked the weather. It's the winds are calm. It's 0 at 0. The upper winds, not really much more help. From the northeast, 22 degrees, 7 knots, 8 knots at 6,000, 10 knots at 9,000. But generally from the northeast. So not really favoring one or the other runway. What I do know is that they do prefer runway 35. So while not doing that, well, actually, you know what? We are going to do this. We're going to set up for the VOR Zulu via the Yankee November, November 1 Papa, which is what I'm expecting for an arrival. We'll see how it plays out again in the air. Yankee November, November 1 Papa. So if we go to our temporary flight plan now, just scroll all the way down here. We had Yankee November, November, which is there. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. And then coming into the field, and then over the Kirkira VOR, and then straight in for runway 35. So that's my guess as to what's going to be happening. So we'll plug that in there for now. So that's all set up. Perf. Back to that, and let's fire up the old APU. Again, we have to wait for the flap open, and we'll get on our way here out of Thessaloniki. Okay, flap is open. Go ahead and start the old APU. Turn on the seatbelt signs. Everything else on the overhead looks... Oh, you know what? Nope, we forgot the old fuel pumps. That would probably help. So EGT on the APU is rising, 31% N1. Just monitoring to make sure it doesn't overtemp. It shouldn't, but it might. And we're expecting taxiway Alpha out of here, so it's basically going to be a left-hand turn out of the parking here, and then follow taxiway Alpha over to runway 16. So the controller did approve us for the start, so we will start the engines here on stand once the APU becomes available. I'll disconnect the exterior connections as well. So we'll go ahead, return, and exterior controls. Just make sure everything is set up here. Yes. Disconnect, disconnect, disconnect. Can go ahead and turn on the APU bleed. This can go over to flight plan because we're done with the options. Everything on the overhead looks good. Turn on the old beacon light. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty ready to start. So we'll start the clock. Ignition. Wait for the PSI for the duct pressure to rise. Showing 40. Good to me. Starting number 1. Let's get the PA on. With the safety announcement. Now these IAE engines do take a little while to start up. Quite a bit longer, as a matter of fact, than the CFMs. They do produce, as I mentioned in the last video, quite a bit more idle thrust, though, on the ground. Got N2 rotation. EGT's rising. Means there's fuel. As a matter of fact, you can see there's fuel. EGT should be peaking any time now. There's the bus switching over. Everything looks normal. We have the avail, so that's one good start. Go ahead and fire up number 2. Very, very slow to start up. We finally have N2 rotation now. Still no fuel flow. There goes the fuel. And with that, the EGT rises. Little ECAS warning here to turn on the predictive wind shear, which we shall do. We'll wait on the weather radar until we're off the stand. There's the bus clicking over. There's the avail. We have 2 good starts. All right. So the ignition goes back to norm. You can arm the speed brakes. Trim. We can set the trim 0.9. A little bit lower. Right around there-ishly. That looks good to me. We will turn this to arc, and we will put the terrain on that side. We can ditch the APU now. Everything else on the overhead looks good. Taxi light, runway turnoffs. Beacon's already on, which it should be. That's good. What am I missing? Back to Athens control. We'll do a quick flight control check here. So, full left. Full right. Neutral. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Athens Aegean 355, stand number 4, Thessaloniki, ready for taxi.
Aegean 355, taxi going point 116 via Charlie and Alpha.
Via Charlie and Alpha, Aegean 355, roger. Alright, release the parking brake. Go ahead and set that to max. Waiting on the cabin check. And it's going to be a, hang on, while I just TrackIR here. Left-hand turn out of the parking. Not doing a very good job of following these lines, but hey-ho. And we can't forget to set our flaps on our taxi out. So this is Charlie here. And then a right turn here on Alpha to the holding point. So, weather radar goes on. Flaps to 2. Dab of brakes here as we come into the turn. Don't want anybody squishing themselves to the wrong side of the aircraft. Once again, still waiting on the cabin. Haven't added any additional thrust yet, and you can see that we're already doing 22 knots across the ground, so a little dab of brakes here. Bring it back down because we are still waiting on the cabin. Normally I would Ryanair taxi it all the way to the holding point, but we're in no rush, still waiting on the cabin. Safety briefing finished a little while ago, but I guess they're still securing everybody, the overheads, overhead bins and all that good stuff. Another dab of brakes here as we come up towards the turn. And there's the wigwags, as we call them, telling us, hey, there's a runway ahead, don't go further unless you have clearance, which we don't. I will set the parking brake, and we'll just wait on the cabin. Taxi light can go off, turn off's off. Oh, cabin's ready, sweet. Back on you go. Back on you go. TARA. And Aegean 355, holding point runway 16, fully ready.
Aegean 355, full wind 100 degrees, pre-notch, runway 16, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 16, Aegean 355. So takeoff config test. Test, no blue. We will turn on our strobes entering the runway and our landing lights. We'll start the clock here in just a second. The chrono, I should say. Airbus terminology. Not for us. Clear on the left.
Expect
Clear on the right.
Approach. I'm just not sure when can I start descending to 3,500 feet. Aegean 986 at descend now to flight level 70.
Start the clock. Bring in the power.
Flight level 70.
A little bit of forward pressure. And there we go. Manflex runway. SRS runway. Sorry. Is the enunciation. Keep it on the center line here. Through 80 knots. Ease up on the back on the forward pressure. And that is V1 rotate. And up we go. That is positive rate. Gears coming up. Little bit of down. We were a little bit too ambitious with that up pitch. There we go. Just follow the flight directors. Nothing complicated about it. So I think our... No, okay. So we're good. We're still painting. It's up to 10 miles and then back around over to Thessaloniki. VOR rather. Coming up to 1500, we're going to get the enunciation for a lever climb. There it is. So climb power is set. Probably going to have to pitch down a little bit. Maybe not. We're still holding the speed quite well here. Little view. Whoops. Sorry about that. Little view of the hilly terrain as we depart here. Bright, beautiful, late morning. Almost afternoon. Just going to make sure that my throttles are set to stay in the climb lever. Detent. There we go. They are. We can disarm.
5 radar contact out of 3000 feet. Climb from level 260. Turn right direct to November.
Okay. Right turn 260 to climb and direct Yankee November. Thank you. That's one heck of a direct. Aegean 355. So we'll do that.
Not a problem. There's no traffic.
And we'll do that. And we'll go ahead and start our right-hand turn. We're going to pitch down a little bit as well. There we go. Way past our acceleration height. Into the turn now. Didn't have to do any of that departure. Pro controllers here in Athens, or in Greece rather. Come out of the turn, overshot the turn, because I was looking outside at the pretty scenery. Come on, pay attention. So that green F is our flap retraction speed.
Just confirming.
So we can go ahead and bring in flaps. So we set flaps 1, and that S that you now see is the slat retraction speed.
We
will pull for standard. There's the slat retraction speed. Up come the slats. Wind directly off our right-hand side, pushing us left, so a little bit of right to compensate. Coming up to 250 knots, which is our speed limit here below 10,000. We'll release the passengers in just a bit. There's the pitch down. That is for acceleration after 10K. So we'll go ahead and comply.
Descend to 2,500 feet with QNH 1016.
There's the mainland, so we're basically crossing over the mainland, some mountains, and then descending on the other side. Autopilot can go in.
If you prefer runway 16 left, there's no problem. The wind now is calm. You can descend 3,500 and expect VOR approach runway 16.
Coming up to 130, we can go ahead and turn off this seatbelt signs.